Hi Leo, I'm Anisha. To know more about my work, you may visit my website www.tarotbyanisha.com. For those of you who are seeking deeper clarity in your lives, in your personal charts, be it your career or your love life, you may write to me for a personal consultation at tarotbyanisha@gmail.com. Leo's May is a month of retrogrades. We're beginning the month with a Mercury retrograde that goes on till about 23rd of May. We are already under a Mars retrograde that is there till about June. This year, that is 2016, we have about 4 retrogrades by Mercury alone, and this is the second retrograde. We had the first retrograde in January, and this particular retrograde that's happening right now, it's speaking a lot about past. It speaks about your past memories, it speaks about your past experiences, and all of that is going to get highlighted during this time. Of course, the best way to know as to which particular house we should be focusing upon, the best indicator is as to where it is exactly that Mercury is retrograding. And it's almost like a cosmic signpost where someone is pointing and saying you're right over here. And for you, it's happening in your house of reputation, it's happening in your house of public recognition. And during this time, Mercury is, it's just asking you to revisit, relook, and revise things that you may have sort of overlooked. And because it's an extremely quick moving planet, when he is reversing, he is triggering a period of reflection and reorganization in all of us. And for those of us who are not really paying attention to these particular things, Mercury just might start acting up, and it's almost comically he'll start tinkering with your electrics, so you'll start losing your keys, losing the phone numbers on your phone, and it can also be, it's literally like someone is sticking out a foot and making you fall till the time you get up and you say, oh, what happened exactly. And this is Mercury's way of letting you know, he's literally tapping on your shoulder and coughing and making you take notice that you need to be looking at this more carefully. And for you, because it's all about work, it's about your public reputation, your social position as to where it is and how it is that people perceive you at work. It's also about your social status, and it is a time wherein that communication seems to be really highlighted for you, and it's a time also where you could experience some amount of misunderstandings as well, Leos. Now, while normally when this house, this particular aspect gets highlighted, it is normally, you can expect accolades, promotions, and people really sort of give you the credit for the work that you've done. But with a retrograde over here, it's just asking you that maybe it's a successful project. Maybe there is something which is already nearing completion, but there seems to be something that's amiss. Maybe you need to be going back and looking at the project very carefully, and it can be something that needs to get researched at this point of time. It can also be that maybe something that you've communicated earlier on an email regarding a project, or maybe regarding work. It can be even about, I would say, a new job change that you've been speaking with the prospective employers. There seems to be some information that is not quite right. So maybe it's a time you need to be going back, and you need to be going back to the blackboard. You need to be relooking at the things that have already got done. Patience and caution is being asked of you during this time, and it's not a time for a career change. So if the conversations have been happening, let them happen till about 23rd. It's not the best of time during a retrograde to be signing contracts, to be getting into newer jobs, or even to be starting newer love relationships. If there have been ongoing conversations, discussions, that's fine. That would just sort of get delayed. But if it's something new, you can expect that they will be, you'll just keep having newer things cropping up over there. Reapplying for a job that you didn't get earlier, that is something that is something you could look at. It could be favorable, and use this period, I think, to consider whether you are happy with your career to date and what is it that you would like to achieve, and try and research again on the kind of work, where it is that you see yourself, how is it that you would want people to perceive you, your social status, something which is, I think, extremely important to you during this phase. You're very conscious about how it is that people are looking at you socially, and also at not just your public image but even at your work image. So you're very worried about your the credit, whether it is your past accomplishments that are there. You don't want anything to get tarnished, and also I think you want to remind people of what it is that you have achieved. So it can also be kind of a phase where you're telling people, oh, but yeah, this is still happening, but 3 months back or about 8 months back, oh, I did that and that won an award, and so you could be sort of be reminding people of your accomplishments, on how it was, and how much it is that you achieved. The keywords for you for the retrograde time are redefining, reassembling, retiring, and reorienting. We have Jupiter that is going direct in your house of earned income, and this is happening around the 9th of May. And Jupiter is a great benefactor. He's the giver, and he's one of the most, I think he's the loveliest planet, because even when he's retrograde, there's nothing really harmful about a Jupiter energy. However, the lesser known facts also about Jupiter are that when it gives too much, or there's nothing called too much, of course, with the Jupiter giving, but when he goes direct and the energy is all outpouring, there's some amount of toxicity as well that comes with it. So you are, I would call it purging. So there's a lot of stuff along with the good also that comes out, and that requires some amount of balancing. It's like watering a plant too much, or maybe it's indulging a child too much. That's how you need to be looking at it. So you need to be balancing that. Plus Jupiter is also, when it's going direct, it's also direct to Saturn that is squaring Neptune, and that requires some amount of adjustment in the coming months. So don't get too excited as yet as far as your earned income is concerned, because that does speak about you're in a space where you're debt free. You're in a place where you may just come across an inheritance, or there's a great bonus, there's a promotion, and salary increase. So it is a house wherein that you will almost be saying I want, and you could be getting it. But like I said, there's the little bit of that challenging bit of it that you need to be balancing, and don't sort of do the victory dance now. Just sort of see how the next couple of months go, because you need to be really balancing this entire energy. So try and sort of look at investments very carefully, Leos. It's a brilliant time to be, and because it speaks really of money that could multiply very quickly. Maybe you need to be looking at stocks. Maybe you need to be looking at things which can multiply more faster. We have an intense full moon that is there. It's there in your house of children, romance, love, creativity, and this is happening on the 21st of May. And this is the house of love, romance, and fun. And a full moon or a lunar eclipse, normally over here, it can either it's speaking about an end of a creative venture or a hobby project you've been working on. So you could see even a completion of even a love affair that could be happening. Something is coming to an end over here, and it's it's almost like, so if you break up with somebody around this time, it has been sort of it's most likely that it's been there for a long time, on the cards, and but with this entire energy in this particular house, you still won't want to be by yourself. You are still going to be seeking company. And on the other hand, it can be that and because sorry, I'm going to come back to that. So because you're not wanting to be by yourself, it can be like a quick rebound, or maybe a fling can just sort of come about. I'm not going to say that stay away or stay clear of it, but with this aspect, there is so much of emotion over there, and this relationship seems to be a fairly intense and a very long relationship that is there. So that is something for you that either this person has been there throughout over there, and so this is something that with this particular placement you could find yourself, I wouldn't say seeking solace really, but I think it's a time where you are just very clear that you don't want to be dealing with this on your own. On the other hand, if you've been if the relationship has been great, and if there's been a lot of happiness, you are going to be taking the relationship to another level. It speaks about commitment. It speaks about a time where you are making peace with yourself. That yes, I want to commit to this person. I want to be with this person. Use this time, Leos, despite the intensity of this entire placement. Just try and get out and have some fun, be a little easy. And for Leos, I think it's not such a hard thing, because as a planet, even though being a fire sign, you're not really that intense per se, like what maybe I would assign to maybe a watery sign. But I think try and sort of just be a little easy, just stop badgering yourself so much. So in this entire thing, and it's possible for you to be having fun, so don't sort of write yourself off and say that, oh no, I can't be having fun and I can't be doing this, I need to be suffering. Try and just get out and travel. And I think it's work for you could be there on the back burner during this phase of time. So try and not commit yourself to large projects, because that's something that you'll literally be ripping out your hair, trying to sort of get it done, and trying to be then just getting out and doing what it is that you want to do. And I think more than spending time with children, it's a time to be letting your inner child out. And this entire energy, I think the interesting thing about this complete full moon, especially over there, is I think you're realizing a lot of stuff on, at certain level you've been idolizing your relationships quite a bit. I think you've been looking at them with these rose-colored glasses on how it should be, and what it should be. And finally, because like I said, if it has been there on the cards, if it has not been working, it's like this complete realization of that, it was something that wasn't working for the longest of time. We have Venus that is there in your house of groups of friends, and with people with whom you share goals, and it is in opposition with Mars, that's the Lord of War. And Mars is there again in your house of love and romance, and they are in opposition on 24th of May. Now the interesting thing over here is that with Venus is there in your house of groups of friends, you could have friends trying to sort of hook you up, and we just spoke about the entire full moon intensity, realization. So I think to a certain extent you are quite supported with Venus being there with your friends. I think you're not really going to be, don't worry about being alone, or not having enough people to hang around with. With this entire energy, you will have I think a brilliant set of friends who are sort of forming this entire circle around you, and you're in a very supported and a very loving space. And it's a time wherein that there's a possibility you could meet, for those of you who are single, you could meet somebody through a common friend, and you would want to be with someone who shares a similar interests, or belongs to the same groups, or fights for the same causes. And you may not be feeling very passionate around this time, Leos, but I think it is the time where that you are sort of there's that mental rapport that we look for, and it normally comes with the comfort of knowing when someone shares the similar beliefs and has fights for the similar things. So that is the comfort that you're going to be looking for more than the passion bit of it during this time. And because Mars again is there in your house of love, romance and creativity, you could feel quite driven to express yourself. However, try and be a little careful that don't let this entire intensity come out too much. You may just end up scaring the other person away. But it's a brilliant time for creativity, I think, for those of you who have been stuck for the longest of trying to express yourselves, whether it's on a canvas or you've been wanting to write. I think you'll just find the flow just happening for you, and you're just going to be having more energy as well during this time, and but more for fun and less for work. And it's just going to be a time and space where you're going to be finding it very hard to focus on duties and responsibilities. So try and take some time off during this phase, Leos, and give yourselves plenty of spare time as much as you can. And of course, for those of you who can't just get away, try and ensure that you do those quick weekend breaks. They'll just get the pressure off. The key thing for you this entire month, Leos, is that while of course the focus is there on your your house of reputation and career and how it is that you want people to perceive you, but with the full moon bit of it there in your house of love, romance and creativity, and then of course with Mars and Venus doing that little dance over there, it's very important that you use this time to transform yourself and understand whether there are commitment issues at all, or they have been in the past, or what is it that is sort of bringing you back to the place where you may have started, say, 2.5 years back, because this seems to be like a recurring aspect that seems to be happening for you. So it's a good time wherein that I think just remove the entire intensity this month and just get out and have fun. And I think Leos are one of the best people who really know how to party. So just get out, be with your friends, do your thing, follow your passion, do what it is that you enjoy doing, hang around with people who have similar interests, or have similar causes, and so on and so forth. It's a time also to be looking at your situation or looking for a solution quite creatively, because you will just find it. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, Leos. A quick reminder for those of you who are seeking deeper clarity in your personal charts, be it in your career or in your love lives, you may write to me for a personal consultation at tarotbyanisha@gmail.com. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. I'll see you again next month, and thank you so much for watching.